Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Zero Gravity Gaming's Platinum League. We're here with the pre-show, of course. Third one of the week for myself here, MXL, joined by Taco Cat and That Woo Brandon. How are we doing tonight, y'all?
Just peachy.
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for asking.
Love to hear that. Should be an exciting night of games. Of course, we've got the single best of three. We'll get into that one a little later, but I do want to start off, as we have done with the other two leagues this week as well, just by breaking down the teams that we're going to be seeing over the course of this season. First up, we're going to just take a look at Elysium Rush, a team that's, I believe Elysium's new here to Zero Gravity, so should be a fun one to watch. Any thoughts from either of you on this team?
Anybody with the name Book of Eli's got to go crazy. Like, you can't just do your name Book of Eli and not go crazy. So
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to be looking out in the mid lane matchups for that.
It's a banger name for sure. I've seen Elysium as an org around, but honestly, they're like you said, they're a fresh name to me. So I'm excited to see what they can do in the standings for sure.
And usually, whenever a team's just new to it, they kind of have an upper edge against everybody else because everybody gets used to the same teams playing over and over again. To where now someone else coming in and be like, "Oh, I don't really know anything more than just looking them up." So once they get they get a chance to kind of get an upper edge on some of the people they play against.
True.
Yeah, should be exciting to watch. I know a lot of people are kind of projecting them to be favorites in the tournament. I think even Shang. I have to pull up the official article again, but
I think they were ranked second.
second, yeah. So Elysium's predicted to be strong. On the opposite end of the spectrum, according to the preseason power rankings, we're going to take a look now at Clinical, who Shanghai ranked ninth. We'll have to see if that holds true. But my opponents for tonight, I want to hear what you guys have to say about this one.
Oh, I'm actually a huge fan of their team logo. MS Paint, shout them out. That's definitely the route to go. But I mean, if they're sitting at 9, you can't be named Pharma again. I'm telling you, once you drop crack names, you have to be disgusting. But judging from the matchup, from what we said earlier, I don't know how well it's gonna go for Big Pharma, but we'll see how it happens.
I want to be honest. I was doing my review of all the teams because, like, I was kind of surprised that a lot of the people I didn't know, and this team particularly, I thought someone made a mistake on the master because I thought they were supposed to be in the gold team, the gold league or whatever. Because a lot of them are like mid to low gold. I think they have like one P4 in their jungler, but I mean, I guess they're just a bunch of homies trying to beat up some higher ranked players, which is respectable.
Yeah, I have to face them tonight, so I'm gonna hold my biases and hold some of my cards close to the chest. But yeah, I mean, Shang putting him ninth, only over my team, and purely to quote dunk on Ryan. We'll get to that later, but it should be an interesting team. They looked solid in Gold League last time around. Pharma returning from that roster, Mikish as well, so could look to do well with Battle Roy and Rutenium coming in. I'm interested to see what's going to happen, but that's going to push us now to our defending runner-ups, I guess is the best way to phrase it. SON Leviathan with Macro Beast from Plat Worlds returning once more. I can't say that with a straight face. Uh, yeah, what do you guys think of this one?
I'm telling you, Macro Beast. Like, what's the names? Once you have a clean name, if I see that, if I load up against that in a match, I'm like, okay, well, I gotta hold up. I gotta sit a little closer in my chair, get some stuff going. But and then also Dodge BSN RN. Wow, this guy's got some letters after his name, so this guy's official, you know. Shout him out. But I mean, Sunville Leviathan, just like I'm ready to see kind of all these teams, just how they how they interact with each other, because it might end up just being rock paper scissors for everybody, where it looks like someone's gonna get stomped, and then somehow this rock beats this scissors. You know.
Yeah.
So I again have no clue any of these players. Unfortunately, not. The one thing I do want to shout out is the org. I've heard of Sun quite extensively. I've played against a bunch of their teams. One thing is, I'm looking at the master doc. The point of contact, Dory K. I think he's a resident ZZG member. I've seen him around a bunch of times, so that's kind of exciting. Him kind of running a show a little bit, so this should be exciting.
Yeah, I mean, Shang predicted them to be number one. It's hard to argue against that when they were second place last time around. Aegis Quantum not returning this season, so a lot of that kind of power was in this bottom lane. Should be interesting to see if Macro Beast is able to kind of put the rest of the team on the back once more. As I'm getting flashbacks to Karthus support last finals. Never mind. I don't want to think about it anymore. Anyway,
Hey, if
uh,
it works, and that's just
it
how
was
League of Legends goes, you know?
the worst part was the Karthus support game was the only one they won, if I remember correctly, and it
Oh.
in typical SON fashion. Next up though, we've got Taco Cat's roster here. Team Ambition Divine. I will let you start with this one because I have a feeling you'll know a little more about them.
Again, they have a super sub on their bench, no big deal, aka me. But no, it's not my roster. It's just a bunch of guys I'm really close with. You have DD, who's been a staple in gold leagues, finally making the push into plat. And then you got Sybil, formerly from Imperial, moving on to his new home at TA, which is really exciting. Dilly and Arrow made a really good push in Victorious League, where they were probably one of the better bot lines. So it's just exciting to watch them move on to another league and see how they face up against some of these plat teams, because a lot of them haven't played up. A few of them have, so it's just exciting to watch.
Yeah,
And a
Brendan, your
lot of
thoughts?
yeah, a lot of matchups I was gonna say though, like with people playing up, you'd be surprised that some of the people take the matches and kind of run with them. Because one, I mean, yeah, if you're a higher rank, you're kind of used to a little bit more things, but it's just like those videos you kind of see online. It's like or on YouTube where it's like Iron Team faces Challenger Team, like what's gonna happen, this and that, and they kind of get them for a little bit, but then the Challenger Team obviously like overall is just better at playing the game. But you never know with this close of like ranks, that you can really be surprised to some people showing up, especially if you get like some of your picks you're just more comfortable with, and you're like, I've been in this situation before, and kind of put the blinders on.
Yeah, I mean, my eyes are going to be drawn towards Deity, who's coming back off of a championship win down in the Gold League from last season. Taking a role swap, was 80 carry last time around, now moving up towards the top lane, so it should be interesting to see how that's going to pan out for this team. If that role swap works out well, I mean, Deity was pretty much unstoppable, I'd say, in the Gold League, so could even look to try to transition that in Plat this time around. That's going to push us, though, now to uh, Shanghai's projected 10th place roster. Chosen Reborn. Shang, we're not 10th, by the way. I just want to throw that out there. He did it purely to hold on, I need to pull up the
The
phrase
direct
exactly.
quote, yeah.
Yeah, so quote, it just wouldn't be right for a power rankings written by Shanghai not to bust Ryan's balls. So I don't know if he actually thinks we're 10th or if we're just getting memed on, but should be a fun time. What do you guys think of this interesting roster?
I'll
So
take the lead on this one
yeah,
actually, real
go.
quick, Taco Cat. So I don't know. I've seen MXL. Just watch some streams sometimes
Oh,
of them
geez.
playing, gaming it up. Sometimes it's good. Sometimes it's bad. But I mean, hey, if you're predicted 10th, I just want to see people prove it wrong. Especially obviously if he's just busting balls. But whenever I start seeing teams, everyone loves an underdog story. Those are the easiest things in best of threes just to get behind if you're just watching it. So. If you're always an underdog, you're always gonna have fans on your side. So that's one way to look at it. What do you think, Taco Cat?
So for me, again, I've also tuned into some MXL streams.
Oh, jeez.
Most recently was Clash.
Okay.
I don't know if this was this team,
Oh
but a
man.
direct quote from somebody on the team was, "I hope we didn't make you regret joining the team." So I don't
No.
know. Seems a little
Our
rocky
top
to
laner
me.
did lock Tarek, and I think I third time Desir that game. But yeah, it did happen.
Okay, well, but I want to piggyback what Brendan said. Again, underdogs are always the favorite. Everyone likes an underdog. Again, I don't think I would have ranked you guys at 10th, but Shanghai, he's our Lord and Savior, so whatever he says goes. So I agree. Maybe an underdog, but I'm looking for you guys to catch some W's.
Hey,
Yeah.
also though, when I see names with accents like that, like ogre, like I'm telling you, when I see names with accents, I also get a little nervous in game. Be like, okay, you took the time to go and copy and paste or freaking hold down something just for your name. You at least care a bit.
True, true.
We'll have to see. Should be an interesting team to watch. Totally not biased at all. Now for the man of the hour who put his own team 7th, Revolution Ice Age. Shanghai is back in top lane. Yay, Yorick.
Shanghai. I mean, okay, I looked at his op.gg today specifically because I was like, this guy's in plat. I had no clue, but not the flame.
Oh,
Um,
the flame, the
Wow.
strays.
okay, not trying to flame, but I looked at his champions and I thought I was looking at feathers and furs. op.gg
Yeah.
because he has a 90% rune rate on Alawi. Okay, Shanghai, you like the tentacle lady? Okay, I see.
Disgusting, dude. I'm sorry, Illinois players or something, bro.
True, true.
They have a special place in not my heart.
ZZG higher ups and playing Alawi, bro. Name a better combo.
uh, Brandon, any thoughts on your end from Rev's team?
Once I heard that, I'm gonna vote for them to switch spots with you and you guys be 7th and them be 10th.
Okay, cool.
After I
Glad
heard
we're in
that,
agreement.
we're
Yeah,
gonna get
yeah. They
a
swap. They
roster
swap.
swap real quick.
Yeah.
All right.
But all jokes aside, for me, I think they're using a sub bot lane tonight, unfortunately, because it looks like their main support doesn't have the games allowed. But Killatron, he won gold ZZG like many moons ago with Hyperion. He's been around forever. Really solid support. You know, he's a thorn in my side because as a fellow support player, he plays Pike and Vel'Koz, and it makes me so angry. But once he gets his games in and he starts, you know, showing up, I think this team's bot lane will be a pivotal point for them.
Yeah. I mean,
Oh yeah,
and speaking from
support.
experience, speaking from experience as well, I was on the Revolution roster last season. Playing with Killa, it's always a blast, always a pleasure. Um, some Callista Pike games happened, and that man is a psycho on Pike. I swear to
I'm
God. But
telling you, bro.
it's fun. He's a really solid player. I'm really excited to see if he will click with Levy, if that role swap for Levy into the AD carry position will work out as well. Uh, that's mainly where my question is going to be, is around that bot lane. But we're going to get to our first of this on-stream teams right now as well. No Quarter Gaming coming up next here on the list. What are your thoughts looking into this roster, just at a glance, realistically?
So for me, I specifically looked at their top liner because he plays a lot of interesting stuff. Again, another Alawi player, but again, I digress. We won't talk about her. But this guy really likes his Akali, like his Camille, his Rumble. There's a lot of spicy picks this guy can pull out. So I'm kind of excited to see Juicy Gam 3S play, bro. What a name and what a champion pool. I'm excited.
I don't know, man. I'm gonna look straight to brother-in-law. The name just sticks out to me. I see it. I just looked at some of the stats on him. He's got a pretty positive win rate with every champ that he has, so I think he's really got his champ pool at least distributed out a bit, and that's always solid with a mid laner. Usually, either they play through it or having to wait to kind of see what they can do and counter with. But that's kind of just my look at it. Is if you got brother-in-law like spelled correctly, everything's all good to go. You got to be a demon. You can't just show up with that name and be like kind of bad. Then you become the step brother-in-law, you know?
True.
I really wish I didn't just hear that, but it's fine. We're just gonna push past that. Yeah, I mean, NQG is relatively new to the league. I don't recognize realistically many, if any, of these names, so it should be interesting to see how they do. Of course, on stream tonight, so should be an entertaining matchup to watch. Next up, the only team actually taking use of the exception player clause, Glacial Valkyrie, this time around. The big thing to note: Insomniac switching to this roster like 2 days ago, so it should be interesting to see how he will mesh. But what are the thoughts from you guys looking at this team right now?
So just to clarify, Insomniac is in the jungle and not Usain.
Insomniac's a sub right now.
Okay.
I don't know who's going to show up, but we'll
So
see.
so the only person I know on this roster is Usain, aka formerly Casino. Anybody has been in the scene, you know, he's a resident RAR player. We all have our disdain or happiness about RAR, but he's a solid player. You know, has a lot of I should say gumption in his personality. So see how he performs.
Yo, that's a big word, gumption.
Gumption,
Big
yeah.
shout out.
Oh
Hey,
my
shout
gosh.
out to that vocab right there.
I got a thesaurus for a brain, bro. Don't worry about
No,
it.
that was clean. I like that. But I'm just looking at me this Corky. Because you said he's going to be going into the The
jungle.
jungle this time
Yeah.
around, yeah. Well, hey, I mean, it looks like he's been going crazy on some Graves, just from what I've seen. And Graves is super powerful, super early, likes to bully some people around. So if they're kind of gonna give that up and see what happens with it, it's kind of just looking at it because I really don't see a lot of the jungle on it. So I'm excited to see if he kind of shows up for the duty of jungle duty this time around. But we'll see.
For sure. Next up, we're going to take a look at Imperial Gaming coming off of their win in the Gold League last season. Uh, I know you guys are looking at it, and the jungler isn't there in the master dock. They are running an emergency substitute jungler again. Insomniac switching rosters pretty last minute, so IG will be losing bans on the streamed game tonight as a result of all that. But with that mentioned, even just the core four you're looking at Noble Bark, Azure X Fire, and well, even the core three, right? Rin as well, who is a pretty well known quantity. This team looks like it can be pretty solid, and especially with a mediocre AD coming in, we'll have to see how mediocre they are. Yeah.
So, from what I know, Azure and Rin have been playing together for like I don't know forever. Maybe is it Noble Bark and Azure? I think it's Azure and Rin.
Yes,
They've
Noble.
been. It's Noble. I don't know.
Yeah,
Two of
Noble's
them.
top.
Yeah, they've been playing together for like ever and have a really good built up synergy. I think even though they're ranked kind of low, I think this team will show up just for the sure fact of they got some synergy going. They ain't no chumps. They know how to play around each other, which is really nice to see a roster kind of sticking together with each other for quite a while.
Yeah, I mean, if you definitely have the synergy, that's where you kind of just take advantage. If it is either wherever if it's a mid lane and support, I mean, you're always going to get those big roams from the bot lane. Or if it's mid lane and top, you kind of just talk to the jungle and be like, hey, let's play the top side and see what kind of happens. Because I mean, with mediocre AD, I was just looking at some of the things he does not on paper, he does not look very mediocre at all. So I'm excited to kind of see how much he turns up, or if he kind of just goes to his name, mediocre.
True.
Yeah. Should be interesting to watch. Of course, it's always fun watching these teams where a player will kind of get, or a team rather, will win a tournament, go up a league, and should be interesting to see how they're going to adjust to being in that higher tier. And lastly on the list, VRG Olympus, another new organization, but has been described to me as Nightclaw and Friends. So, what are your thoughts on this roster?
For me, I looked a lot at. I always look at supports first and then work up, just because I'm a support player. But Nightcrawler seems to have a really wide champion pool. Usually support players they fall into the tank engage or enchanter. This guy plays a little bit of both, which is nice to see, especially right now because the meta in the bot lane is so volatile. So that's nice to see. And then from the master doc, it looks like their AD carry doesn't have enough games for tonight. I don't know if that's changed, but I'd like to see Nightcrawler pull out different picks and be really hard to draft around, which would be nice to see.
Hey, I like adrenaline. I started looking at his champ pool and everything that he's going for in the jungle. And one shout out to his icon, shout out to what I'm wearing today. But doing that, being the jungles that he's kind of going to, he's being very proactive early with some of these jungle picks. So I'm super excited to see how fast he can get into pretty much the other team and start making them kind of force into what's going to kind of happen. So I'm also a big fan of just very active junglers on the map because sometimes people just go pick the jungle power farm like all my lanes are just falling apart. Don't worry, I'll be there in a couple freaking levels and just get to like 200 farm and they're like, all right guys, I'm ready to play the game. But I do like a more active type of jungle in the matches and on my team. So I'm excited to see how it goes. But the double-edged sword of that is you being more active could lead to not very good starts to going like oh and something. So we'll kind of see if adrenaline can get that rush.
All right. We'll have to see, of course. That does finish up all 10 teams that we will be seeing over the course of this season. And we are running a little bit behind schedule. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just list off the games that are happening tonight. I want to hear your predictions, series score as well. We're going to leave the streamed game for last so we can talk about it just a little bit if we have that time. But we're going to start it off Elysium Rush, Glacial Valkyrie. I'm saying Elysium 2-0.
I'm gonna go Glacial 2-0.
Oh,
2-1, 2-1, 2-1. Sorry, 2-1,
Okay,
2-1,
okay.
2-1, 2-1, 2-1.
Let's go with. I'll go Elysium 2-1. Just flip it off the other
Okay.
side. Just give the people a map. Yeah.
All right. We now will move to VRG Olympus Revolution Ice Age. I gotta do this out of like spite, I guess, but I'm saying VRG 2-0, and it's gonna be like 40 minutes combined.
Again, it's hard to tell because they're subbing in a bot lane, so I'm gonna give a VRG 2-0 as well. But no, I wouldn't say 40 minutes combined. Come on,
I'm
it's gonna
just
be
I'm
some
just being
competition
spiteful.
there. Yeah.
My team's not 10th, Shang. All right. Brandon.
Let's go with. Oh man, I'm always just the worst at predictions. Usually I go with just kind of opposites of everyone because I'm kind of the curse whenever I actually choose a team that I like to play and they lose. So we're talking about VRG and Revolution, right?
Yep,
Mhm.
Let's go with. Give me Revolution 2-1 to VRG.
you're dead to me. All right, we're gonna move on.
just to keep it going,
Uh,
just let it
Next
happen.
up, Clinical Chosen Reborn. For obvious reasons, I'm gonna say Chosen 2-0.
I will also jump on Chosen 2-0, but I love the name, so I'm gonna make it Chosen 2-1 for clinical.
I believe the gold team trying to, bash the plat teams. So I'm gonna go clinical 2-1.
I hate it here. No faith. No faith. Uh, SON Leviathan, TA Divine. This is going to be a banger of a game as well. I gotta go SON 2-1.
So again, I'm biased, because I am on the roster. So I'm gonna go TA Divine. I'm gonna give it 3 games 2-1 to them.
All right.
I'm gonna, flip that. Give me 2-1 Sun because I already bet against you
Perfect.
once, so I'm gonna bet against you now. So just
Okay,
bet
fair
against the
enough.
whole. I bet
Make
against
it fair.
everybody.
Make it fair. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
just gonna be the guy that bet against everybody. I'm just gonna everything
Unbiased.
down. Yeah.
Totally. You are the only unbiased one on this desk right now. But
Hey,
and
if you got a
lastly, that
name, I choose
will
it.
fair enough. That will bring us to our streamed game of the night: Imperial Gaming versus No Quarter Gaming. Of course, keep in mind Imperial will be running the emergency substitute, losing 3 bans over the course of the night as a result. I still think I'm gonna give it to Imperial 2-1.
So I was hyping up Jungle Juicy Jam in the top lane for some spicy picks. So I'm gonna go with my boy Juicy Jam, no quarter gaming, and a 2-0.
I'm gonna push it to 2-1, a no quarter gaming because I chose brother-in-law over mediocre just by the names, and I think brother-in-law is a little bit better. So
True,
I'm
true.
gonna go with no quarter gaming, especially because since they're kind of too new around here, they get the little up on everybody. So yeah, I'm excited for that.
All right, and I want to get one more thing out here from you guys as well. In this stream matchup tonight, Imperial versus No Quarter, where are your eyes going to be drawn? What lane is going to be the focus? Are we playing through the jungle? What's going to happen? What do you think is going to be the pivotal point of this matchup?
So again, I was hyping up my boy Juicy Jam. I don't know because the meta's all shifted towards bot lane. I don't think he's going to be the pivotal player. To be honest, for no quarter, I think it's going to be mid jungle trying to work around each other, trying to get roams to the side lane bot and prio those dragons. Again, I don't really think I can say the same for Imperial because they are using an E sub jungler. There could be issues with them not being practiced together. So I'm gonna be watching the mid jungle duo and see how they react with each other.
I mean, I think mid's really where it's at because we kind of see like jungle. Let's say it's like one jungle going over the other, like Clap Defender, since he's just a little bit more set with the team. If you look at the mid lane, though, I mean, brother-in-law against Azure Fire, I think that's going to be a fun little matchup. Judging by, I'm just looking at their picks and judging by some of the champs that they're picking, I think that'll be kind of my focus, at least to kind of look at, because either the bot lane's either going to get ran through on one side or the other. So I think at least mid lane can be kind of where either team kind of takes the advantage over the other.
All right, we'll have to see how it pans out tonight. Of course, Shinkari and Thousand Eyes will be bringing you that action on the other side of the break, but that's going to do it for us here on the desk. Shinkari, Thousand, we'll see you guys in a little bit. before then, we're going to take a short break. Game start at 8. We'll be right back
Goodbye.
after this.
Goodbye.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Zero Gravity Gaming Plat League. Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction, Brennan. MXL, thank you so much. And here we are in game number 1 for your stream match of this evening, No Quarter Gaming versus Imperial Gaming. My name is Shinkari. I'm joined by Thousand Eyes, and we're ready to get these picks and bans underway. Thousand, are you excited?
I am excited because it has been way too long since we have had any ZGG action, and I have definitely wanted to have something going on. I'm so excited as we do already get through some of these bans already. Imperial running an E-sub, so they are missing a couple of bans in the process, so that is intentionally missed bans. A No Quarter already taking out stuff like the Sivir, the Neela, which I think both have been pretty strong. Sivir has just been good in the meta as a general pick. Nyla, on the other hand, has been really good if you are good at that type of champion. And holy moly, I know a couple of people who are exceedingly good at engage AD carries, and it is terrifying when she can get that kind of lead.
Yeah, for sure. And not to mention, she is a champion that just does not seem to die as those fights go on. If she gets ahead, it is insane to watch this Nyla's go from 0 health to a million, right? It almost seems like people are doing negative damage to an AD carry, which is unheard of. But here we are in the game. We got a Misfortune for No Quarter. We got a Twitch and a Lulu for Imperial here. And we're going to be answered by Renata Glass here.
Yeah, this is a pretty standard response here. Renata and Misfortune do work very well together. Pair up the ultimates, hit them together, boom, you're good to go. The Katarina lock-in, blind. Okay, I was not prepared for that one. No Quarter Gaming going for a blind Katarina here, and I'm curious about this because I know that there are a good amount of picks you can go into Katarina. One of the biggest ones I think that is becoming more popular again is the Lissandra, and that is open and available. So I would not be surprised to see that get banned by No Quarter here going into the second ban phase as the Trundle gets picked up. This is a early Trundle considering that we don't really have a tank yet from No Quarter, and that can kind of take away a lot of what Trundle's power is.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, once again, like, and I say this, and you'll probably listen, you've probably heard me say this before, but Trundle to me is always a counter pick against a team that either doesn't have a lot of mobility or has a big beefy tank on it. So Imperial Gaming here by locking in the Trundle, I actually don't mind it because Misfortune and Renata Glass have nowhere to go once that pillar has come down.
Yeah,
right. They've got nowhere to go. It's really easy to lock down on top of them. And then the other thing I really like is that it's paired with the Lulu, right? Lulu's wild growth means that you can take characters that might be building like a little bit of health here, but mostly damage, right? They're building a bruiser, kind of a juggernaut style build, and turn them into full tanks, right? So I actually don't mind the Trundle pick here. I think it might be fine. It just might not be at its best.
So the one thing that I would be looking for from this Trundle, and one part of it that would make it a really good pick here, is holding that pillar until Misfortune ults. Because you can interrupt the Misfortune ultimate pretty easily from a distance with that Trundle pillar, but that does mean you have to be very careful with your usage of the Trundle pillar. If you use it too early, you're going to end up not having it when it is needed in that team fight. And then you've also got to contest with the Renata Glass as well. We're seeing the Vex lock in as well. This has become increasingly good in terms of not only just picks against certain meta characters that have been coming in, but also just a general blind pick. Vex does well in a lot of situations. As long as you're not going up against poke, you're going to be pretty solid here. I'm really surprised to see No Quarter Gaming actually lock in the Sejuani despite the Trundle pickup here. I don't like that a lot of times because I feel it is such a hard counter pick that you don't want to lock into. and it's going to be rough because now with that Alawi, we are looking at it is definitely going to be a jungle Sejuani, which means we're going to get the aftershock, and that means Trundle can steal a lot of stats if that ultimate is timed correctly.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, what I have seen out of a lot of Alawis is just the whole breaker build, the 1v1.
Oh no.
Uh-oh. Well, okay, so here's what's going to happen. Top lane is going to be an island, and Alawi and Tryndamere are just going to be beating the crap out of each other in the top lane over and over again, while Sejuani and Trundle are going to be 1v1ing each other in the jungle, and Trundle's going to be winning that a whole lot, while Vex, Twitch, Lulu, Katarina, Renata, Glask, and Miss Fortune are going to be the ones actually team fighting.
Yeah, so here's the thing. We have a lot of champions that I just despise in this game. Katarina's bad enough. Don't absolutely hate her. You do have a Lulu for her, so that is one boon that you have for Imperial. But I despise Tryndamere with a passion. That is one of my least favorite champions in the game, alongside Yasuo. Alawi, also not fun to play against. So, not a fan of her either. This is like one of the highest groupings of champions I hate in a cast that I have had in a very long time.
Yeah, I mean, I don't blame you, right? I mean, these champions have Katarina cropping up a whole lot recently, especially due to that Nashor's Tooth build that has been popping up. Remember, her ultimate does apply on hit effects, so by getting the Nashor's Tooth right there, you get a whole lot of magic damage incidentally, in addition to the high amounts of damage that your ultimate already does. So now we're looking at a team that kind of sets up Katarina and Miss Fortune very, very well, right? We have a Sejuani, we have a Renata Glask. There's a lot of things to love about this No Quarter Gaming team composition here. It's just going to come down to the execution, and these are some plat players here, and plat 5v5s are a lot more coordinated and a lot more and it will surprise you a whole lot with how these folks play.
Yeah, so as you can see with our pro comps pick up here, we do have some interesting tactics being shown here. Obviously the split on both sides, both those top laners looking like they are going to be stronger in terms of the split push later on down the line. But the biggest thing is just look at the level of scaling that comes across here and how hard that dip off is for the blue side compared to the red side, which is Imperial. They're going to have that really solid late game of Trundle, Tryndamere, Twitch. Like, these are champions that will run through teams in the late game, as opposed to stuff like the Miss Fortune, which needs that setup. The Renata ult is doing a lot of work in terms of team fights here. If that Renata ult does not actually hit correctly, it's gonna be really tough, and I'm kind of concerned that, you know, late game, what do? Renata ult misses, you've got just a Sejuani ult for crowd control and team fights. It feels like getting run down is a real strong possibility from Imperial.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there are a lot of tools that Imperial Gaming has access to do that kind of strategy as well. And, you know, Lulu isn't shy from building a Shirelia's battle song as well. You know, this is an item that's really, really good on Lulu as well. It's going to help out with that rundown kind of strategy. You've got nowhere to go once that's pressed, right? It's just, Imperial Gaming is just going to have to be patient. The best thing that Renata Glass can do is make someone berserk who has a lot of attack speed, a lot of attack damage, right? But Trundle does that, Tryndamere does that, Twitch does that, right? And if mistimed, Lulu can help with that as well. So Imperial Gaming, if they want to go for that style of engagement, has to be insanely careful, right? The Renata Glass just waiting there, holding onto that ultimate for so long is going to be the death of this team composition if they choose to 5v5 team fight.
Absolutely. It feels like there's going to be a lot of pressure on this Renata pickup here to make that actually work well. And I'm hoping that works out. I think there's definite possibility there. Like, don't get me wrong, if it hits, it's going to hit. Everybody's going to get obliterated. Having a buffed attack speed Tryndamere hit his own teammates is going to wipe people very quickly. but it's very heavily reliant on that, and that's really what scares me, because it is also a decently long cooldown until that level 11 point. It makes it really difficult. You can get into a fight, have it used, and then not have it ready for the next fight there, and that can really hurt things, as we apparently had some mispicks here. So we're going to be resetting the lobby once again, guys. Good start to the season. Love to see it.
Yep.
Always
Love
bring
to see
up
it.
that it's concerning when the teams are not even able to handle the mechanics of selecting their champions as we get ready for the actual games. So I'm gonna be keeping my eyes on abilities, and if they're getting hit, if they're not getting hit. It feels like it could get a little spicy tonight.
Yeah, there's definitely a whole lot of interesting compositions going back and forth here. And I'm definitely looking, I mean, I'm excited. It's been so long since I've been able to cast some Zero Gravity. And, I'm excited to see, Azure Fire and Group and Co kind of move their way up from the Gold League into the Plat League. Like, I'm very excited to see this glow up from them as well. Like, that's
Mhm.
awesome to see. Really, really happy to see a whole lot of stuff going on here at Zero Gravity.
Absolutely. I'm also really hoping too that we're gonna get some good plays individually out of these players. We've talked about the team compositions here a little bit, but just individually, there are opportunities to make things happen. Alawi Tryndamere is going to be butting heads constantly. It's going to be about them understanding their limits of their own champions, and there's a lot of room to show off there. I think also just Trundle ganks as well can be really influential in the game and can have a large impact on the trajectory going forward. So I think there's a lot of room for these players just in lane and individually to show off tonight.
Yeah, for sure. But with that, we are going to take just a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to be on the Rift of game number 1 of No Quarter Gaming up against Imperial Gaming. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Here we are, Zero Gravity Gaming. My name is Shinkari. I'm joined by Thousand Eyes. Here we are on the Rift of game number 1 of No Quarter Gaming up against Imperial Gaming. No quarter on the red side. No, no quarter on the blue side. Imperial Gaming on the red. We've got a 5-point start, and we're ready to get it underway. Thousand, are you ready?
I am ready as we do get our normal start, casual start. Which one is it that you said?
Okay, okay. You were the one complaining about me saying this,
Yes.
and now you're bringing it to another place. I was leaving
Yes,
it
because I
alone.
want to insult you in multiple areas.
You want to insult me in multiple places. Well, I'm not going to
Yes.
give you. I'm not going to give you the.
All right, well,
the
I'll explain it
pleasure.
then. Shinkari in other places used, I forget if it was casual or
It was a casual start.
it was casual.
It was a
Yeah,
casual
casual start. And I
Yeah.
was like, that just gives the inclination that there is a professional start and a semi-pro start and things like that, which just, I don't know, it felt weird to me.
Okay, look, you can't go off of a bit and then be mad that I continued the bit. Okay, that's all I'm saying.
Well, if right now the bit is just me making fun of you.
Yeah, well, the bit is bad. I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you.
We already have level 1 shenanigans. Already, actually, I'm surprised with how well JC is actually trading with this Tryndamere. Tryndamere is level 1, known for being very good. So getting that good trade out already, really good start, and that's just going to get a little better as Alawi gets some levels, and Tryndamere just kind of loses out on some of those stacks after not trading.
I mean, this has to play out similarly to a mage matchup for Tryndamere, right? Like Tryndamere is
Yep.
just going to be stacking up that rage, healing up as much as he can, trading back and forth, and just waiting for Alawi to be out of mana, right? Alawi's already chugged through 2 stacks of their corrupting pot, right? Like this is already looking pretty
Ooh.
good. Speaking of pretty good here, Muzra and Pansy Man might be in some trouble here. There's going to be the pole coming down. Muzra is in some trouble. The exhaust is coming down as well. They're going to be shoved into the wall here by Pansy Man. They're still looking for a little bit more. Pansy Man taking incredibly low here. Might have to back with that Twitch passive still ticking, but this is a really, really good start for the red side bottom lane here as they're taking 3 different summoner spells away from the blue side here.
I'm gonna be a little honest. It's a little unexcusable there. One of the things I always talk about with Trundle is this concept of paying the troll toll, and that is you need to ward your side if you know Trundle is starting on an opposite side. Look at the map right now. There is a vision ward on that red buff. They know that that red buff was taken, and that has been there for about a minute or so now. So they knew red was gone. They knew Trundle started there. Trundle, when he clears and goes for ganks, which is very, very frequent, it is Gromp and 2 buffs. That is what he always goes for. So you know about what time he's going to be on that side lane, and you need to be able to respect that or ward or have your jungler around. If you're not doing any of those things, you are not paying the troll toll, and the troll toll will make you pay with your life.
Yeah. This is definitely looking pretty I don't want to say disastrous, but it's definitely a bad start here for the blue side, not paying the troll toll like you said. But now they're going to be looking to not pay the troll toll again as here comes Demon up into the top lane here. Juicy Games is in some trouble here. Might be forced to flash around the pillar here, but it doesn't look like they're looking to, as they're going to be first blood, and it's given over to Noble Bark, the Tryndamere up in the top lane.
And there's the power of that early game Trundle gank versus what we have in that Sejuani. It's just really difficult for Sejuani to match that pace if those ganks start working out. Already a good gank on the bot side, a great gank on that top area now, and this is a good start for Demon. This is kind of what we wanted to see. Tryndamere getting ahead is absolutely a win condition for IG. If they can keep Tryndamere going and make him a split push threat, it is going to be so difficult once the late game comes to do anything, because he will make it just impossible to not lose out on your base in the process.
Right. It's really just if you're having a 1v1 kind of top lane like this, Alawi can team fight, but I feel like she's at her best when she is playing similar to a Yorick, where she's just a bully over and over again to anyone who tries to match her in the top lane, right? But that's going to be a lot harder if you fall behind, right? I mean,
Yes.
obviously, right? I don't think it takes a rocket scientist to understand that, but it's more so with Alawi, right? Alawi is looking to be a bully, looking to get that early lead, and if you're getting into situations like this one where Noble Bark is just running at you, taking more than half your HP in a few auto attacks with barely any items, that's a huge disadvantage for you.
Absolutely. And it's also smart to have that done before level 6. Bark going for the dive.
Oh, yeah, he's going to pop that Berserker's Rage there, pick up the kill, and be able to flash
he's out.
away at the end there. Now 2 kills in their pocket, finally able to cash them in. GLV Demon comes into the bot lane here. That forced them to back away. Doesn't look like they have a clear gank just yet, but Flap Defender is around the edges here. Can't quite find it, so they're going to back away.
Flap Defender living up to their name. Being very defensive, having the bot lanes back. But yeah, now it's just kind of getting a little out of control now, this top lane. 2 kills on the Tryndamere. And as Alawi, this kind of just ruins your entire game plan. Falling behind like this is extremely detrimental. And that is going to have an effect. Even if the rest of this game we see nothing from IG, if they lose every other lane, they still will always have that opportunity to win now, as long as Tryndamere keeps doing what he's doing.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, take a look at what Alawi has already built here. A Warden's Mail is not exactly something you want to be building on Alawi, right? You want to be looking for that Divine Sunderer. You want to be looking for that Hullbreaker, right? So picking up this this Warden's Mail here, while not bad, definitely not ideal for the traditional game plan that Alawi wants to be playing.
Yeah, it's a hard counter on the Tryndamere, so I do like that pickup. It used to be the Bramble Vest, but after some nerfs, Warden's Mail getting some buffs, it has helped out a lot more. So the Warden's Mail will help a lot. Gank in the mid lane.
Yeah, Azure Fire in some trouble here, going to go down. Zui is going to put out a whole lot of DPS here that's going to be not so easy to answer. So that's going to be the first kill for No Quarter here, finally putting themselves on the scoreboard. 1 kill for the Katarina in the mid lane.
And Katarina shouldn't be really winning that lane, in my opinion. Like, Vex should always have an opportunity to make that work. I mean, yes, there is playing around the fear, but Vex has a shield. Like, you have the ability to block out a lot of that burst damage, and Azure Fire just has, unfortunately, lost control of the lane a little bit, and Zui is just completely taken over from there on. We see the early Divine Sunderer coming through on the Katarina. I was curious which kind of build we were going to be getting. It seems like it's going to be a little bit more AD focused in comparison, which is surprising to me. I don't fully remember what current Katarina, because it always changes. Katarina builds are all over the place. But I think I'd maybe rather see the Nashers as Demon topside.
Yeah, Juicy Games here does have that ultimate available, so should be able to live long enough. Not this time. Those tentacles might be slapping, but they're not doing enough damage to stop this freight train up in the top lane. 3-0 now on this Tryndamere. Starting to get a little scary.
We're past starting. We're past the starting point of getting scary. This Tryndamere is officially scary. And even if you don't have the damage, it's the fact that those crits are coming out. The full stacks on the passive there. the Fury doing so much for Tryndamere and making that damage so impossible to deal with. If you can burst down Alawi, it ruins everything she wants to do. Now, Tryndamere, if we take a look at the gold, now it is just, what, like 1,500 gold ahead, about 1,400, somewhere in that vicinity. That is terrifying. And Alawi is essentially just going to be hoping to get a good team fight all as this game goes on.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they're really gonna. I don't think they can commit to the 1v1 split push game anymore. I think they're gonna have to move down with their team now and be, you know, the fifth man in these fights in order to kind of pressure the Tryndamere away from split pushing, right? And you know, that's not exactly a bad thing. I think that Alawi is still very powerful in that way. As Demon throws down the Troll Pillar here, is going to be answered by Club Defender here. Does not have that ultimate available still, and that's
Ooh,
going to
nice.
be Grin going down first. Mediocre AD has been berserked up, but DLB Demon is going to be the one going down, as that's 2 for 0 down in the bot lane. Sejuani has finally shown up and shown up in a big way.
Absolutely. Clap Defender, finally the level 6 point hits. We get the nice turnaround on the bot side, and there's what we needed to see. Top is gone. There is no way to save that at this point. So what you need to do is focus your resources in a place where you're going to get something for your buck. And that is exactly what was done. They got around this MF that had the ultimate ready. Bullet time alongside the Glacial Prison is an easy kill, and they had enough in the tank afterwards to chase down and get the Trundle as well. First turret down, all of a sudden, yeah, you got the Tryndamere ahead, but what are IG gonna do outside of that? It is really kind of just looking like it's gonna turn into the Tryndamere show.
Yeah, and you know, it's not a bad show, but it is one that is a little boring, and also not exactly ideal for a team that is looking to get ahead like this. Azure Fire dives forward here. Noble Bark is going to be the one taking up the turret here, and it's going to live by just an inch here as they're finally making their way out. Uh-oh, Azure Fire? Okay, yeah, they're fine. They're fine.
Yeah, no. Tower reset. Everything A-okay, and this I like. Tryndamere already has 3 kills. You don't need to take more. You are far enough ahead that Alawi is never going to be a threat realistically in this game unless we hit super late game. So what you need to do is spread the wealth. Get that money in the rest of your team's pockets because things elsewhere are not going great. There is a limit to how much your money can do. As it gets higher, that return on investment becomes lower and lower. You want to get gold in the pockets of your teammates so that they can do things as well. You get Azure Fire up there, basically gift the money over, and all of a sudden now you got the Vex with some money in her pocket. It's going to be harder and harder to do as it gets further and further in this game because Alawi will be worth less money, but topside going to get into a fight.
Yeah, GLV Demon did pop that ultimate pretty early. They're still surviving in this fight, but here comes Zui in from the side here, trying to live for just a little bit longer. The wild growth is going to keep them alive, but Berserk is going to be the one killing Rin here. That's going to be a kill for the Renata Glask here, thanks to Twitch is now stuck underneath turret in a 1v4. Gonna try to stealth their way out of this, but Zui is trying to block them off as best they can.
No way.
Able to sneak away. Azure Fire flashes over the wall looking for a fight here, but immediately gets exhausted. Mediocre AD comes out of stealth looking to support their friend here, but Zui has already taken them incredibly low. They're not going to be able to do enough damage this time round, and the turret is not going to help them either. Two the kills up in the top lane. A whole lot of gold now back into the blue team's pockets. They're now looking at a 3K gold lead.
No Quarter Gaming are doing such a great job playing around this misfortune here. Get up in that top side, they hit the ult again, and then get the bullet time across that at least one member who is going to get obliterated. Yeah, Demon survived a good bit of that, but after that, there was nothing left. There were still some shots coming from that MF afterwards to take the kill. And I feel like there was a little bit of miscommunication, or at least a little bit of unsureness there, because Mediocre AD was getting out, was free and good to go. And then Azure Fire got in to that fight, and it basically forced Mediocre AD to turn around and make sure that he was there to help his friend. I feel like if they could have communicated a little bit better, like, all right, I'm out, we don't need to take this fight. Azure Fire doesn't die there, and Mediocre AD also does not die in the process.
Yeah, for sure. And now we're about 14 minutes in, and now we have the second Drake spawning of the map. This is going to be the Hextech Drake right here. Definitely really good as a soul, but as an individual Drake, pretty good here. It still does mean we have a bunch of souls left on the cake here, but here comes Zui, going to be feared up, thrown back in. Trundle Pillar is going to immediately interrupt here as Asher Fire goes golden. They're going to use that ultimate again to dive on top of Juicy Games here, but they're not going to go in just quite yet. These tentacles do a whole lot of damage. They have to respect that. They're going to be able to find one. There is one for the blue team there as the Renata Glass ultimate comes around. Noble Bark is now looking for something over the wall. He's clearing out that ward. He's still pretty healthy, though. Does have that Berserker Rage
Twitch
available.
is
They're
here.
going to pull it all the way out. Here comes Twitch. Clap Defender over the wall. Not going to be able to get the steal this time. Going to go the flash over the wall. Red team goes 2 for 1, picks up the Hextech Drake, and Ocean Soul's the soul for the map.
Yeah, that was actually really good from Clap Defender to be able to pick that one, get in there, try and go for the smite. Just barely did not get it, and I think that could have really gone either way. Demon does confirm that one, but I like that Noble Bark is down in that fight. He's not sticking up on that top side right now because they want to make sure that the dragon stacking does not start going for no quarter. They don't want to allow that to happen and give a strong objective win con over to a team that will run away with it if given the opportunity. Yes, Tryndamere will be able to split really well, and I think you can do that later on, but this stalls out that soul win condition, and that gives a little bit more time for the Tryndamere to scale up and hit his split push disgusting levels of power. I'm hoping now we're going to see Noble Bark take this top lane tower, start pressuring, and make it so if there is a third dragon fight, Noble Bark is trying to basically take an inhibitor tower in the process.
Yeah, for sure. Is now the big objective right now is going to be that Rift Herald here as the blue team's already starting it up here. Red team kind of waiting in the wings. They are around in the area. I don't think they're looking for any sort of steal just quite yet. So, yeah, there's a full 5-man squad from the red team here, so yeah, that's just going to give that over to the team there. They're, you know, just kind of making sure they're staying relevant in this game, just farming up, just kind of conceding it. I don't like the call to just concede it here. It is the last Rift Herald of the map, and you're already down some turrets and haven't cleared any of the outers yet. I thought, especially after that, you know, fight where they had come out on top, that, you know, maybe they would have looked for a little bit more. But yeah, here we go. Shelly's pop mid lane.
Yeah, trying to keep the momentum in their favor right now. No quarter are trying to push more, get this second charge, which they will be able to do. And, oh, wait, no, good chomp.
Okay,
That's
yep.
actually really big there. It now becomes a much harder operation to take that tower. And that will not be just a walk up and poke it a little bit. Meanwhile, Asher Fire also taking that bot tower there for the first turret of the game for IG. As now maybe Bark is going to get focused here. He's got friends coming though.
Yeah, it seems like he kind of smelled something fishy going on in the mid lane in the river. There as Juicy Games continued to kind of bait him towards the river a little bit more, but it looks like they just might be conceding this top lane here. Tryndamere is strong, but I don't think he's 1v4 strong. So that turret's gonna go down. We have a little bit of an answer from the rest of the team, but it doesn't look like there are any stragglers here from No Quarter Gaming, so they're just going to have to back off. I'm surprised that they sent so many people top.
Yeah, I think it was just like, hey, if they hard engage on this, we want to be able to turn it around. Weren't really looking for a fight, but wanted to be ready in case it came around. And then they do just back away at the end of it there. Tryndamere looking like he's going to get sent bot lane here, which I'm not as big a fan of here. The Dragon is going to be starting soon, so a lot of the team's players are going to be converging in that bot lane area. You want Tryndamere to be split pushing really hard, force Juicy Games to stay up in that top side as long as possible, or somebody at least to stay up in that top side. I think what they're worried about though is the fact that they don't have the TP on the Tryndamere right now. They only have that ignite. Juicy on the Alawi does have the teleport ready, so I think they want to try and keep Tryndamere in that vicinity so that they can take this fight if possible.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it seems like they were just shoving out the wave. The same thing as Twitch up in the top lane as well, because they're resetting right now. They have the timer on the Drake. They're going to be up in just a little bit. Pansy Man on Renata Glask, already clearing out some of the wards around the river here, but this is a good, opportunity for Imperial to start warding around the river here as Pansy Man, they're going to get caught out here. DLV Demon doesn't spot them out, so just going to back away here, continuing to work as a group to ward this area is Noble Bark. Runs out Juicy Games here, spins forward, looking for Juicy Games. Actually, a lot of damage. The Troll Pillar is going to come out huge. Flash over the wall into the pit, but here comes Mediocre AD. Spray and Pray going to be able to find that kill for themselves. Maybe a little bit too greedy here. The rest of the team looking to collapse. It's a 4v4 right now. Vex has not entered the fight just yet. That's going to be the slow, lowering their AD just a little bit. GLV Demon looking for a little bit more, but they're still doing a good job of kiting this one out. Noble Bark doesn't know that he's standing on top of a ward right now. Here comes the Vex ultimate across, but it lands onto Clap Defender, not someone you want to dive on top of. So it looks like they're just going to take away some mobility and just back away. The Trundle ultimate has been used, and it looks like it's finally worn off here. So that's a bunch of ultimates spent by Imperial Gaming here, and they're still full ready to go for the blue side. They're just down a man here. Juicy Games does have that teleport available if they're looking for the engage.
He's coming in.
Yeah,
he's coming in to pinch them too.
The bot side. Yeah, they have to choose a side now. Noble Bark, 1v1, Polymorph, looking for Juicy Games.
Oh
look at
my
the tentacles.
God.
So much damage. Noble Bark is going to be the one going over the wall here. They are still in the Berserker race. They're going to try to get away as best they can, but Zooey is now going to be chasing them down. Mediocre AD is going to be the one who's next to be chased. But they're going to find 2 kills onto both Trundle and Lulu and finally pick up this dragon. 2 drakes for themselves. They're going to march their way over to the mid lane.
I think IG overestimated their ability to fight when those ultimates were down. You've got to consider how strong No Quarters composition is when you don't have those ultimates to counter them. The Glacial Prism was up. The Renata ultimate was up. The Bullet Time was up as well. Like, I mean, okay, go for it. You know what? Live your life, Mazra. But, like, my point being there is we saw Twitch ult down. We saw Vex ult down. We saw Trundle ult down. They only had Tryndamere and Lulu ult. Those are not teamfight ultis. You know?
Ooh, Azure Fire's going in here. Not going to be able to get the steal, but maybe they can get some damage here. Katarina ultimate coming across. The handshake is good. They're going to be able to live for just a little bit longer. They're going to be able to find the revive, but it's not good enough as Mediocre AD is going to be the one picking up the kill there. It's a 1-for-1 around the Baron. But that is still a big Baron up team. 5,000 golden lead.
Yeah, they take that Baron away. They lose Katarina, but they'll take that trade every day of the week as they do reset. Towers will fall a little bit here, but at the end of the day, it is still a win. You get that second dragon, you get your dragon stacking back in order, and you get the Baron as well. This is a nice looking power play that's being set up for the side of No Quarter Gaming. And, you know, just to finish my previous point on the dragon before we get too far away from it, I really liked that No Quarter kind of felt confident in that fight. I think they could have honestly 4v5'd and won that fight still, just because they had the bullet time, they had the Renata ult, Glacial Prison, like everything was set up. The fact that Juicy TP'd behind and got a massive Alawi ult on that backside as well just sealed the deal. That is why it was such a wipe. I think it would have been a little closer otherwise, but they completely blew IG out of the water with that.
Yeah, and now they're having to deal with a, you know, it's a 22-minute Baron. It's not as powerful as Barons later on, but this is still a Baron at a time of the game where, you know, this game could be a lot closer had it not been for how well No Quarter has been playing so far. Now, granted, not the biggest fan of this 5-man push down the center. I would have liked more of a split, but you know, this is still very strong from them here as Tryndamere might get caught out. Has been spotted by Vision. He's just going to back away here.
Tryndamere, look, Tryndamere does not die. He is, if he gets caught, he ease away, he's fine. There's not really any fear, because remember, we got to go back to the fact that No Quarter Gaming do not have a lot of crowd control. They have Glacial Prison, they have Renata. That is all of their crowd control in this game. So, other than some slows, but like that's not going to stop Tryndamere. He's still going to spin all over your face. He is waiting right now to go in, but with the tower down, they're losing some extra ability to fight this fight.
Yeah, I think they're just waiting out the Baron buff right now and hoping to catch them out. It is almost over. There's about 10% of this buff left, and so They're still trying to look for an opening here, but Tryndamere just can't really find it, right? He was sitting on the flanking position for a long time,
Yeah.
but just never could find an introduction into this fight now. And so now this blue team rotation down to this bottom lane here might be the opening that Imperial is looking for, right? They might stay a little too long. That's
Here we
gonna be the
go.
next ultimate coming across. That's a
Nice.
good spear and a good pillar as well. The bullet time comes across, but doesn't really do a whole lot of damage. Noble Bark is now berserk, and he's wailing on his own team here as the hostile takeover is just doing so good at disengaging this fight. They might look for a little bit more here. GV Demon is still pretty quick, and Mediocre AD is sped up. Can they get close enough to continue this fight? They're gonna rip out his soul. There's the Alawi ultimate. They're gonna start slamming down. Trundle is the next to fall here, 1-for-1, but they defend the turret. IG is gonna take this every day of the week.
Yeah, so IG, they do back away no quarter from their turrets. They lose some people in the process. The overchase at the end feels a little bad, but the fact that they could push them away, get that reset now, and now we're looking at a dragon fight. Now, here is the problem. There is still a lot of gold being spent here by no quarter, but they are still waiting on cooldowns. I believe, I'm going to take a quick look here. Okay, MF ult will be available. The Renata ult will be available 10 seconds after Dragon. The Alawi, or not the Alawi, the Glacial Prison is going to be available just as Dragon spawns here. So I think they're going to be okay. Their ultimates should reset here. And that does mean it's going to be very difficult for IG to walk up and get into this fight, because they are just going to get plastered by this Glacial Prison Misfortune combo.
Yeah, for sure. As now they're securing yet another Drake here, and I kind of like this answer from Imperial here. They have their team kind of spread out. They're conceding the Drake here. It's Soul Point, which is an important one, but they're still looking for advantages at other places up the map by saying, hey, the entire enemy team is probably bottom lane at the Drake. Let's grab this easy top lane top. Let's grab this easy win for ourselves, and we'll be able to just put a little bit more gold into our pockets. So, gonna lower the gold difference by just a little bit. It's still pretty large. 4,000 gold still separates these two teams, but it's still looking to be a lot closer than it was before. So, red team's still doing a good job of hanging into this game, but still, it's still a hill to climb here. So we're 27 minutes in.
Yeah, I mean, let's be clear though. Their money is pretty much where they would like it. Some kills on the Tryndamere, some kills on the Twitch. That is where your damage is really at. Everybody else can survive without a lot of gold, and they will be okay with that. So it's still okay. The biggest problem is because the gold deficit is so large, and because these bruisers are kind of amplified in their ability to tank damage right now, you don't want to take a 5v5 because you're just going to lose out in terms of their damage versus your damage. What needs to happen is what is happening right now. Tryndamere split pushing and just trying to draw pressure here, but now with Baron spawning, there's no world in which Tryndamere actually goes up here, and I think IG also just have to give this. I don't like that Tryndamere is backing here or doing the Krugs. I think right now you just hard commit on that tower and you take that down.
Yeah, they're able to get a fear here, but I don't think it's going to be able to get them inside. GLV Demon flashes over the wall here looking for the 50-50. Not going to be able to find it. The wild growth comes through, but it's still not going to be able to give them enough to go through here. That's going to be a good fear onto Zui here as they continue to kite backwards. Tryndamere is making his way up from the bottom lane here, but
yeah, he's not doing anything.
Yeah, he's very, very late here. Take a look at that teleport here. Juicy Games is going to be coming in here. Now they're in some trouble. Mediocre AD is very, very low. Azure Fire trying to keep them away from these base as best they can. Juicy Games already taken a lot of damage here. Might have to turn this away, but it looks like this might be the end
Look
of the
at Tryndamere. Hold on. They're trying. So if they can hold this off at least for a bit, they'll be able to hold it. Tryndamere's holding the wave.
Yeah, this is going to be the last ditch ever here. That's going to be a shutdown for Azure Fire here, as that's the first to go down. Azure Fire goes golden. They finally have the minions here. Juicy Games looking low. Lulu's going to be the one picking up the kill here as Mediocre AD is coming through looking for Pansy Man. Is really close. Goes invisible. That little bit of movement speed might be the one to help them survive here, as Zui and Pansy Man are trying to run for their lives. Can they get away here? Looks like yes, but they're still trying to chase here. Noblebark does have that speed up from Whimsy as well, but they're going to be pushed away. They're still on the hunt. GLV Demon still wants to fight here. That's going to be the Chilling Smite and a Chomp as well, but this team is just too mobile. They can't quite get into the enemy team, so they're going to have to back away here. And once again, yeah, continuing to force the back, but not really gaining anything off of this.
Yeah, so the backs are actually going to come through. This might give an opportunity for this tower to get some pressure. Now, Pansy's going to stay. Okay, cool. I think that's the right call. You stay there, make sure that the Baron minions are around to make it harder for them to siege until somebody else can come and keep the Baron on there. So like we said, Noblebark kind of just came up from that bot side and was looking to join the fight, but I don't think there was ever going to be a time where the Tryndamere was going to get there in time to stop that fight from happening or get involved in that fight. So I think the better option there is hard commit on that tower. You take that tower down, you get objective bounties. That's a 400 gold objective bounty spread across your team. That is more pressure on that bot side to allow for the dragon control. Once that does spawn, we have a minute to that, and your team is trying to stop Dragon Soul from happening, and Ocean Soul of all things. So I really wish that we would have seen a little bit more pressure on that bot side to get some map control that we are now seeing get taken away by No Quarter Gaming.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the second that you lock in a Tryndamere, they're going to be a much better splitter than they are going to be a team fighter. And while this Navoric build is insanely powerful, it's really not going to be as useful to your team as a split pusher would be than a team fighter, right? Just forcing the enemy team to be environment. Yeah, environment. That's excellent here, but you'll still want to apply the bullet time across, so you're going to do a decent damage here. As your fire first, that's going to be finding the first kill and allow your Noblebark to find next. There's still a little more here, Noblebark finds slow, but that's going to be as Zooey on the backside here, this is finally leading to Noblebark. He might actually be able to find an ace here. Noblebark with a little bit more time there, has that flash over the wall here. Noblebark does not have to spin, so they're finally able to win a fight pretty convincingly as well, and now they get to make their way over to this ocean break and delay this soul for 5 more minutes.
Holy moly, somebody give Noblebark some extra money for that play, because that is exactly what needed to happen. Noblebark went in, saw that Renata, and immediately went on her. She was alone. Pansy Man could not get away, used the ultimate, which just gave Tryndamere more moves, or more attack speed, as the only person to hit was Renata, so that's a little bit of an oopsie. But Tryndamere just obliterated Renata, came back into the fight, chased back Misfortune and Sejuani, and then continued on forward. So you saw Zooey in that backline doing work, but there were 4 people focusing on that Katarina, and 2 people of those 3 then were focusing just on that Tryndamere. So it was impossible to continue the fight for No Quarter. Really good stuff from Noblebark, who is trying desperately right now to keep his team in this game.
Yeah, for sure. Is now we're taking a look at where we're at. 32 minutes into this game, 2,000 gold and some change separates these 2 teams right now. Very close, closer than it has been in the past few minutes. And now we're looking around Baron, as that is going to be the next big objective to spawn in this game. About a minute in, and we're going to see the next big fight here. And this could be the end of the game if Red Team, if Imperial Gaming does not have a good battle plan coming into this top half of the map here.
Yeah, as now we do see Noblebark keeping that pressure on now. This is the point where Tryndamere is going to be disgusting. Look at Tryndamere's level versus everybody else in the game. Level 17 right now. The closest person to that is either Zooey or Juicy, who are level 15. That is 2 level difference at the closest. And Tryndamere is going to be a major threat, just one-on-one or in these team fights. It's just really going to be all about how Tryndamere is positioning both on the map and in micro positioning in these fights.
Yeah, for sure. Is now he's looking for a flanking position right now, hanging on the backside of the mid lane here. Has not been spotted by the blue team just yet. And both teams kind of waiting waiting for the other to check them, as this is going to be the Renata Glask ultimate coming out. Hostile Takeover is going to go across the entire enemy team, but it's not going to hit anyone, as Mediocre AD looking for a flank as well. Trendemir waiting for it. They've spotted him out. That's going to be the Vex ultimate onto Misfortune, and that's huge. The first fight, the first death of the fight is going to be Misfortune here. That's going to be the Alawi ultimate coming across. It might keep them alive for a little bit later, but the red team is falling one by one. Mediocre AD is doing a good job of cutting out as best he can, but he's not going to be able to stop Zui's. That ultimate is huge! Quadra kill for the Katarina, and they finally turned this on their head. It's an ace for No Quarter Gaming, and they're pinging onto the enemy base. They're just running right at the inhibitor.
They put so much into killing Muzra at the end there, and they got her. They got Misfortune down, but they still had to deal with the fact that they dove so deep in, and that gave Juicy the best opportunity to use that ultimate across so many players. Zui then flying in, holding that ultimate for the perfect time, and just wiping the floor with the team at the end there to pick up those last kills. A quadra kill, like you said, they're gonna push to end the game, and it is almost, no, they're not gonna end it.
Yeah, it looks like they're finally going to ping the Baron one more time, and this might be a good opportunity to do so. There's still some ultimates down for the enemy team here, and this blue team, like No Quarter Gaming here, they are full on these ultimates. Asher Fire is about to have that ultimate come back online, so we are going to have a very even ultimate economy here, as folks in the Overwatch League like to say, as this is now going to be another action-packed fight. This is going to be another bloodbath here, and, you know, this could, once again, try to see the end of the game. These death timers are now very, very long.
Yeah, this is where the games get really scary, because at this point, death timers are basically going to be you are either losing the game or you are losing an insanely large amount of your base, and that is going to be a threat. Noble Bark, no!
Yeah, immediately
Oh
deleted here, and that
goodness.
is not good. Zui pops the ultimate here, looking for GLV Demon, but can't quite find it. Continues to throw out the shurikens and shun Po. This might be the opportunity. Flash forward from Clap Defender, Flash in response with Asher Fire here. They're still trying to go down the map here. They got away with super minions, and now the only thing that stands between them and victory is the Nexus here. This might be the end of the game. GLV Demon pops the ultimate here. That's going to be the Renata class. Hostile takeover
goodbye.
across the enemy team right here. One goes down. Let's see if this GLV Demon can stay alive for just a little bit longer, but it does not matter. The Nexus falls, and game number 1 goes over to No Quarter Gaming.
A barn burner from start to finish. We saw Noble Bark get such a good lead, but unfortunately at the end getting popped, and that was just the go button. From then on, No Quarter Gaming said, all right, all of the gold, all of the very important gold on IG is dead. We push the issue, we go forward, and we try and end this game now. They have no Nexus towers, they have no nothing, and that should be how we close this one out. They took that advantage, and they got the win at the end of it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this was a really, really, I'd say it was relatively close the whole game. There were still some moments that, in moments of brilliance that Imperial Gaming had, even when No Quarter Gaming was a lot further ahead than them. And they
Yeah.
did a very good job of staying in the game as well. You know, these damage numbers are not too far apart from one another. The highest damage champion on No Quarter Gaming was 32,986 on Zui and 30,741 on Vex. Those are pretty close to one another. And, you know, the gold at the end of the game might have been significantly more, but throughout the game, it was still relatively close throughout the entire game. I think objective bounties didn't really happen until the very, very end of the game. So
I think the biggest thing that kind of encapsulates it is just IG used where their gold was allocated extremely well. They got the Tryndamere in really good spots and allowed for Tryndamere. When they got Tryndamere in that backline, when they got to the point where Noble Bark could just walk around and enjoy the feast awaiting for him in the backline of No Quarter, that was where it went enemy ultimate top of that. that was where things went really badly. But the individual skirmishing, the fighting that went so split apart, that was really where we saw IG shine. And I think they understood that enough to the point where they were trying to make those where they were fighting.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, but at the end of the day, I mean, No Quarter Gaming was still played that game really, really well, right?
Yeah.
They are going to do such a great job with the rest of this. If they continue to play like they did in game number 1 here, then this is going to be a really, really good series for them. I think they might be able to take it 2-0 if they continue what they did in game number 1. But we are going to take just a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to be in picks and bans of game number 2 of No Quarter Gaming versus Imperial Gaming. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Zero Gravity Gaming. My name is Shinkari. I'm joined by Thousand Eyes, and here we are in game number 2 of No Quarter Gaming versus Imperial Gaming. We don't have a side swap, so we're going to see these folks taking the same sides. No Quarter is going to be on the blue. Imperial Gaming is going to be on the red. And if you missed game 1, No Quarter Gaming staying in the lead for the whole game. Had a couple hiccups here and there, but for the most part, No Quarter Gaming had a spectacular game number 1. And now, as we're moving into game number 2, what do you think needs to change in order to make this an Imperial Gaming double.
Yeah, so now we are in the picks and bans. Once again, Imperial are running E-subs, so they are not going to be able to have some bans. These are intentional missed bans. Gotta teach them how to use draft low. You can turn off the bans, guys. You can. We don't have to go through nothing. But I mean, look, if they want the time to breathe, I can understand. Last game felt a little hectic, got a little crazy. This time though, we'll see. I think I would not be surprised to see something like a Katarina ban, because that got a little goofy later on. And I think really Imperial, what they should try and do is see if they can lessen the blow on those other lanes. They had top lane going great. They just did not have the opportunity to get other lanes ahead, and it felt like they were always catching up from there.
Yeah, for sure. As now we're taking a look at finally the bans coming through here. Lulu being banned away, and I kind of like that adaptation here. Lulu was actually pretty good and instrumental in keeping a lot of Imperial Gaming alive in a bunch of these different fights here. So taking that off the table, as well as the Sivir and Nyla as well, I think these are some good bans. The Nyla, a little bit questionable. Maybe it's just more of a comfort thing that someone on Imperial Gaming has been playing it a lot recently. And Sivir, definitely a good ban here. Now we're taking a look, and it's going to be Jinx. It's going to be Jinx.
Okay.
For Imperial Gaming.
Yeah, so Jinx has not been as around in the meta lately. She definitely still has that team fight presence, so I think it's fine. You can make it work. It does work well with the Renata, and I like that Imperial are taking that away this time, making sure that no quarter have to change up what they're going for and seeing what they can do from there. So this time around, it's going to be the Karma, which has a much lower level of impact in terms of team fighting than that Renata Glass. This now gives much more of an opportunity to dive into that backline. I think that Renata ult last time around was so difficult for Imperial to deal with, because they just kept not only not diving into the backline, but they kept hitting their own teammates with their really hard-hitting carries.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think there was only really one time that Renata Glass ultimate wasn't influential, and it was because Imperial Gaming just completely left the team fight regardless. And but Renata Glass ultimate doesn't even need to be influential itself. Just the fact that it's there is the biggest thing, right? The fact that you can just wait to pull the trigger is what everyone has to play around, right? It's if people are familiar with Super Smash Brothers, it's like Samus, right? If you're playing around with the fully charged shot, everyone is going to start playing around like you're going to shoot, right? But the fact that you just don't sometimes, you just hang on to it for a long time, is going to make people play different. It's going to make people feel threatened by its just existence and the possibility of you using it. Renata Glass does do that. If you have a team comp that works around the Karma, and you're just going to buff up your team's movement speed and run on the enemy team, you can't exactly do that if there's a Renata Glass.
Absolutely, and it's not going to be as crazy in terms of the damage done, obviously, because Swain Karma, they're not really auto attackers, but Swain having to just run back, that can ruin his ultimate charge, that can ruin his ability to stick to people, which is already kind of lacking before Rylai's gets picked up. So that can be kind of a game changer. That just change of direction for that little bit of time can change how a fight works, because you're looking, and I always say this about Swain, he is exceedingly ultimate focused now. His goal is to get in the middle of a fight and stay in the middle of a fight as long as possible. And one wrong move to back away can be utterly game-changing, because when his ult is not up, he is basically just looking to set up picks for the rest of his team.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you're right. I mean, Swain's power now is just the longevity of his ultimate. Once it starts, it's very hard to stop as long as he's within range of these of enemy champions, right? And looking at a lot of these enemy champions, he's going to be within range of a lot of them, right? It's just whether or not he's going to live to tell the tale, right? Because one Renata Glass ultimate into that Swain, and that misfortune is going to be beating the crap out of him, right? Like, that's the thing to watch out for sure, as Urgot gets hovered and locked in here.
Okay. Huh. So I will be one of the first to say, I don't know the Urgot Tryndamere matchup. I would assume that Tryndamere is going to win that pretty good early, and then Urgot can get beefy enough to fight the Tryndamere. It feels a little weird, especially with the ultimate. I'm positive. I'm not super positive, but I'm fairly positive that Urgot's ult will continue to just grind while the Tryndamere's ult is going, and then you just keep pulling him until he eventually does die. We'll have to see how that interaction goes, because that's going to be fun. But the Amumu locked in as well, and I think that is exactly what No Quarter needed. They've had so much in terms of getting Swain moving up there, getting the extra AoE damage with the Urgot and the Misfortune. What they needed was the setup, and now No Quarter Gaming have that with the Amumu, who could just ult in, stop everybody in their tracks, get a bullet time, get Swain in the middle of a fight, and see where things go from there.
Yeah, for sure. As now we have the final teams locked in here. Vex and Sejuani once again. Azure Fire running back the Vex. And now Sejuani going to be in the hands of Imperial Gaming this time round, giving just a little bit more initiation power to their team here, being able to lock down someone on the enemy team. But it doesn't look like, man, I'm not sure why I just kind of feel meh about the Sejuani here. Maybe because it just like doesn't really have something big to follow it up, or maybe it's just the Tryndamere and the Vex that can really follow up onto the ultimate here. What are your thoughts about the Sejuani ult pickup here?
I don't mind the Sejuani at all here. I think it can do twofold. One, it can be a disengage tool because right now Amumu is really what's going to be diving into your team. You can use it to stop Amumu and get a reset off and back away, which can be very good for that Jinx. On the other hand, you can use it to stop Swain, and like we just said, backing off, resetting the fight from Swain. That is really important. If Swain pops ult and then you glacial prison him and just walk away, that is a completely easy to make re-engage tool then when you have that Vex ready and the Tryndamere to dive in. Like, that is what you want to see. If you can turn Swain ult off and then re-engage, there are options. I also just think they do need a little bit more of a front line, because you don't want to run Jinx without some kind of front line or ability to get Jinx popped off where she doesn't need people to be in front of her. She could just run people down and do her thing. So I think the Sejuani's solid, and I think it covers a lot of the bases that their composition was kind of missing into that last pick.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I still think that the Jinx here is very, very good just because of the Renata Glass, right? I like her a lot here because this is going to be an opportunity, like you said, for Jinx to just kind of be in the middle of their team and just run them down. Just run directly at them and continue to shoot rockets, right? Because the handshake is just going to give Jinx just so much more of an opportunity to do that, and also kind of have no fear of dying all the time. Right, because as long as it's compared with her passive Get Excited, this is looking like a Jinx that is going to be entirely impossible to actually run away from, and then with the handshake, almost impossible to kill. As we take a look at our overlay here, taking a look at some insights in the draft here. What do you make of all this insight right here?
Yeah, I think this kind of encapsulates a lot of what we were talking about here. The mid game is going to be really strong. The AoE damage is terrifying, but MF, if it's the same build as last time, was lethality. Swain, he does lose out on damage in the late game because he focuses so much on that AoE kind of, soaking up damage, and usually goes into things like the Rylai's, which heavily focus on the utility of that item. And then you also have the Urgot, who is really good, but then kind of doesn't, he's not a tank, he's not a damage dealer, he's kind of in between and has this weird role in terms of team fights. That's why I think when you look at that red side where the scaling is just going up and up, you are seeing where that power is going to be. We already saw late game Tryndamere and how terrifying that could be. Now we have a late game Jinx on top of that to make things even rougher. And with the peel that they have, the Fear from Vex, the Glacial Prison from Sejuani, the Renata ultimate as well, there's so many ways that they can keep the dive from Swain and Urgot from ever hitting onto that Jinx. I feel like the biggest thing here is, are there going to be flanks from the side of No Quarter Gaming, or is it going to be basically just trying to run at them? Because if they don't go for those flanks, if they're only just trying to run at them, it's gonna be a hard comp to actually make work just purely based on the champions that they're playing against.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if I'm looking at anyone for flanks, it's definitely going to be this Tryndamere again, right? Noble Bark was playing that game pretty fast and loose when it came to flanks, often like taking some pretty greedy angles in order to try to get really far behind the enemy team in order to look for those types of big initiations there. Honestly, I think that Noble Bark should just completely forget that he has a team and just go completely into the split push angle. Because there's a lot of times where Imperial Gaming, when they fell behind, even though Noble Bark was ahead, that he could have gotten a lot more value to his team if he had continued to split push in a lot of the situations where he had the ability to.
I hard agree with that. The thing is, Tryndamere is on the same team as the Jinx. I'm talking about the fact that no quarter, they are the ones that have to do a flank. Because if they come directly lane in lane, running at each other, Renata Glasgow, Vex Fear, like there's no way you are running into there and getting into the Jinx, which is really where that damage is going to be in this team, outside of the Tryndamere diving into a backline or something. I think really what's going to be important is either you get a Mumu to capture a 2 or 3 people with that ult and get a bullet time over it for a start of a fight, or you just kind of catch people out of position as they rotate. It's scary because I look at No Quarter's team composition and it looks like a team fight composition, right? It looks like they have really strong team fight. A Mumu ult, Swain ult, Misfortune, like these are really strong team fight champions. I just don't think the way that those champs work does well into what they actually have to go up against.
Right. I mean, usually when you have a 5v5 team comp, the best thing to do, and we like to call it a wombo combo comp, right? Especially when a lot of ultimates do well overlapping with one another, but it's really important that synergistically your team works in that way. You want to be able to maximize the good things about your team and make sure that your carries are able to pop off in the way that they do. And while you do pick while you pick mostly team fighters here, it has to be like, okay, well, is this team fighter going to be good to help us with the carries that we have? And that's going to be very important for when you're drafting. But we're already done with the draft here, and the only thing we can do now is cut it to we're gonna throw it to a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to be on the rift of No Quarter Gaming versus Imperial Gaming, game number 2. Will Imperial Gaming be able to turn this around and bring us to a game 3, or will No Quarter Gaming give No Quarter and give us a 2-0 for this evening? Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this.
The era of metal has begun, and metal shall prevail. For we know what they have done. 5 legends of our realm who sought to follow the path of their dark musings. But they did not know what they had summoned. Pentakill. To these creatures, there is but one thing left to do. Heavy metal.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Zero Gravity Gaming. My name is Shinkari. I'm joined by Thousand Eyes, and here we are on the Rift once more for the second time this evening of Imperial Gaming up against No Quarter Gaming. No Quarter Gaming still on the blue side, Imperial Gaming on the red. We have a 5-point start one more time, and we have a couple of the team meeting each other back and forth across the map here, but no invade shenanigans just quite yet. Thousand, are you ready for game number 2?
I am ready. Teams are spread out for the 5-point start, and it is looking like we're just going to be doing everything the normal way, the boring way, and
The casual way.
the casual way. You know, I try to avoid it.
You can't do this. You can't
I can do
bring
whatever
it
I
up,
want.
try to make fun of me, and then just like the second I bring it up, just be like, oh no, now I have to be the straight man and be like, oh, this stinks. Oh, this is a real bad bit.
Yeah,
You brought it up.
because it's funny when I do it.
Oh, it's funny when you do it. Okay.
I'm funny, Shinkari. That's the difference.
Okay, yeah. Remind me to rename you Thousand Laughs, okay? Because you're so funny all the time.
That makes me realize I need to just have like a laugh track around me, just to go so that I can just live up to that name.
God, could you imagine like just people there's so many folks who like throw out like sound effects that go through Discord. Just we have one cast where we just do that, just throw out like a laugh track or something.
Absolutely. That would be hilarious. I would lose my mind actually.
Oh my god. Ugh. I think I would lose my mind too, just like pressing the buttons. I don't think it would be a good cast. I think it'd be very
No,
funny.
it wouldn't. Absolutely
No,
not.
It just
I mean,
would not be.
it's hard enough for us to have a good cast, but like
Yeah.
speaking of good, bot lane going well for Muzzer and
Great
Pansy
segue.
Man as they do get a well, it's good until you mention it, man. Come on. A good start on the bot lane, poking out this Jinx. This is probably about expected here because the Comet on the MF as well as the just Karma poke is really strong, and Jinx just has nothing to do with it. Renata does nothing to help break that, and it is just going to be waiting until the waves crash.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is just a real tough time for Jinx. I mean, they're already level 2. Karma's early damage is insane, but look at this. GLV Demon coming into the mid lane here. Zui's in some trouble here. That stun is going to get stacked up here. Zui's taken incredibly low. Flash forward by Azure Fire is going to be able to find the kill here. Urgot's coming in from the top side here. Azure Fire is very low. Juicy Games comes in. Clap Defender's going to get one. GLV Demon flashes over the wall.
wants
Juicy
it.
Games looking for another. That's going to... Oh, they're so close.
No!
They're so close. I don't think they'll be able to get away here. They're probably going to have to cut off the exit because they need to go through the tri-brush here. Tryndamere is coming down from the top side here.
Oh, he
They're still
healed
looking
up.
for more, looks for the flip. Gonna heal up a little bit more, but Crab Defender has finally given up on this. Noble Bark, on the other hand, still kind of wants to fight this. Juicy Games does have that stun charged up from Sejuani, but that's going to be the re-engage.
Why are we going
of Club
in?
Defender here. They're still fighting. They still want more. Juicy Games coming back in. They're looking for it. Noble Bark is still really low, but Juicy Games doesn't have a whole lot of mana. That's going to be the Swain Q coming across here. They're still looking for more. Juicy Games
I think they could turn this.
God. Are they
Oh
trying to
my
fight?
God.
Are they just trying to go back to lane?
I don't know what's
Okay.
happening anymore. I am
Okay.
almost positive at the end of that they could actually turn that because there was no mana on that Urgot, and Urgot relies on that to be able to activate his W. It is not a toggle yet. He has to actually hit the button, and that is really hard to fight when you don't have that, and you have that Tryndamere just getting healthier and healthier. You said, oh, I don't think Sejuani's getting out of that, but not only was the distance just a little bit further than needed to get out of there, but you also had the fact that the Scuttle Crab actually came by. MVP Scuttle Crab allowing for the smite from Demon to give a little bit of extra health just in case and make sure they got out of there.
But now Azure Fire going to be in some trouble here as Clap Defenders coming through here, trying to position themselves on the other side of the minions to not get bandage toss, but now they are sandwiched between two members of the blue team, and they're going to go down here. Swain is themselves is going to be the one who's going to kill this time.
Yeah, that one pretty standard there. There's no flash. There's no way you're getting out of that, and Zui able to pick that up and get an extra kill there. So good stuff now. 2-1. What should have been probably 2-2 if Urgot was able to actually pick up the kill on Demon. So now feels a little bit lacking here as we're seeing... Or sorry, it should have been a 3-1, sorry. As I got mixed up. They were on all different sides of the map. It messed me up so good.
Yeah, it was a that's almost a that's almost a Benny Hill moment right there. Yeah, it's very close to one. With how much chasing and how much running around that Sejuani did. But I like this play from the blue team bot lane here. They had a little bit of prio in their lane for just a second there, and they used it to go over and pick up the scuttle crab, the two of them together. So this is a good job to just deny some experience, deny some gold away from Sejuani. Like you said, wants to get to that level 6, but the scuttle crab offers a lot of experience and now has to spend time in the blue team jungle in order to catch up.
Yeah, so that will give a little bit of a lead here for Clap Defender. You can see Demon trying to make it up by counter juggling on that top side. Knows that the Tryndamere will be able to help out there. And then, you know, should be able, even with the wave as it is, Noble Bark can just kind of run people down. It's fine. But the big thing is level 6s are here. Here comes Demon rather.
Yeah, Noble Bark is up here in this top lane. Going to get flipped over by Juicy Games here. And now they're looking for the pull in. They're going to be suppressed. Their Undying Rage pops out of the meat grinder. There it is. Noble Bark not going to go down this time. And they pick up a kill for themselves in the top lane.
So why did we pick the Urgot? I don't get why we picked the Urgot if that's the interaction.
Yeah,
like,
I mean...
I didn't know what it was. I'll be entirely clear on that. I had no idea how that was going to work. If that's how it works, why are we picking it? Because it seems bad. It seems not good.
Yeah, imagine forcing yourself out of a meat grinder through sheer anger.
Yeah,
because that's what
we've all been there.
Yeah, we've all been. Yeah, everyone's been there.
Yeah.
Just a common occurrence between normal people. You know, sometimes you get your hand stuck in a meat grinder, and you know you're just so angry that your hand comes out perfectly fine.
Yeah, I guess that's just what Tryndamere does. He is a strange angry man. Yeah, and he will do as he pleases. The laws of the world do not matter to him.
Yeah. That's why I say, like, all the time, whenever Tryndamere is picked, you stop playing League of Legends and you start playing Tryndamere, right? It's not fun. No one has a good time. Not even the team playing Tryndamere has a good time. But you know what? You have to play Tryndamere now. You know, he warps the game around him. You know, the entire idea of him just not being able to die is just insanely powerful. As now, Handsy Man actually might be... Oh, okay.
Almost.
That was really close.
Yeah, so Mazura just gonna stay alive here, and Karma does get out of that here. We do have pretty much no objectives coming up here in the meanwhile, so it's gonna be pretty slow, I think, for a little bit. We're looking mainly, I think, for a awkward objective team fight that our No Quarter Given is going to actually want. And that's going to have to be kind of set up around those dragons. Get those flanks from weird angles. We've already seen that No Quarter Given has no problems going into enemy lines and trying to make stuff happen. And the vice versa is also true. I think the big thing now, Demon coming around. Nope, that is way too close to the tower.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just really, really close. It's just really, really just tough here for Demon coming in from that angle. Like, you're going up against a Karma who can very easily tether you underneath the turret here. As Mazra might have spotted out Demon here. That's going to be the Glacial Fissure coming across here, but they're still not going to be able to land it. The bullet time is coming across as well, but it's across both bot laners now as the Berserk is coming across, but that's going to make them move closer. As Super Mega Death Arc comes across, but this is not a good gank for the red team here. They've lost their support. Are they going to re-engage? Okay, Mozra is in range to deal some damage to Demon, but they're finally going to back away. But man, oh man, not the greatest ganks there in the bot lane.
Yeah, unfortunate on that one. We do see the death of Renata Glask and an early kill to MF, and that's where she wants to be in this kind of a matchup. The Jinx will eventually outscale her, especially going for this lethality build. But right now, getting the kill, getting the extra money there, that's going to be really big.
Okay, Azure Fire here, caught inside Zui's ultimate, forced to be pincered between them and the turret here. So now Azure Fire flashes away.
Good disengage.
Support, but Zui is still looking for more here. The ultimate turns
Oh!
Zui. might not be able to catch them here as they're going to be feared, exhausted. And now here comes GLV Demon here. Zui trying to get away, but there's nowhere to go.
Nice.
Mediocre
Good handshake.
AP is going to be the one picking up the kill there, as that is a really great kill handoff to the AD carry.
Yeah, so that really is a little bit of greed there. Zoe really wanted that kill, and Renata is very good at disengaging fights, very good at keeping people away from her teammates, and did a perfect job there. A couple of really good handshakes to make sure that the Vex got out alive, and Rin keeping 300 gold out of the pocket of No Quarter Given and giving 300 gold back over to her own team.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the big thing here is that they gave the kill over to Jinx, helping them to even out this lane in the bot lane. They're down about a few waves of gold, but what's great is that with that kill under their belt, they're now a little bit closer to Misfortune than they were before, as Noble Bark now kind of forced to fight Juicy Games here. Once again, oh, there's a good stun here. Let's see if they're able to get the Meat Grinder here. They're going to pull them back in. They're not going to be able to get the kill this time, as Asher Fire has already dealt a decent chunk of damage. They're going to pop that stopwatch, keep them around for just a little bit longer. There's a good fear they're not going to be able to find the kill, though. Super Mega Death Rocket going all the way up the lane. I'm following it on the map, and it's not going to land onto Juicy Games this time. They're going to be able to get away. They pop the Rift Herald top lane. They pick up first turret. This, once again, great start for Noble Quarter Gaming.
Yeah, unfortunate. Do not get that one. Trinidad does once again get out, but we do lose Vex in the process, and a tower and another charge. That one definitely not going to be stopped this time around. We'll get an extra charge on to that top lane turret. Tryndamere falling behind in towers is not really where you want to be. It's not the end of the world, but ideally you really want to get that Tryndamere going into a spot where he can just kind of keep pushing towers, be left alone, and just be a menace in that 1v1 split push. But right now, he's going to be just trying to catch up in terms of gaining that ground back, and that's giving the opportunity for that dragon. It means that Tryndamere is spending more time to try and split push than he would otherwise.
Yeah, for sure. Now, as Azure Fire almost getting caught out here, but going to use that fear that they've stored up in order to be able to get away safely. They picked up a plate for themselves. Once again, Tryndamere here, like you said, falling a bit behind. Is, you know, this is now a very even matchup where, you know, Juicy Games might just come out on top here. With that Titanic Hydra, they have just a lot more damage than this Tryndamere does at this stage. And so if they look to 1v1 fight here, this might be just an angle where Urgot is just so much farther ahead that Tryndamere just can't deal with it.
Yes, but the thing is that this is where Urgot's spike is really going to be in this matchup. Tryndamere will hit a point where his damage is going to go above what Urgot is capable of fighting, and the big thing that Urgot is supposed to be able to do is finish off kills strong. He's not able to do so against Tryndamere, so it's really difficult to do, and it's gonna be really hard to stop this. I think if there is a time where Urgot can do that, it is now and a little bit into the future, but it's gonna go out of control pretty quickly here, I think.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we're really gonna have to watch these fights, because it seems like whoever ults first in this matchup of Urgot versus Tryndamere dies, right? That Berserker Rage is going to wear off, the Meat Grinder is going to be good, and if it comes down to a fight of auto attacks, you know, whoever's ahead is going to come out on top. But speaking of that, Mosra is in some trouble here. They're going to go Berserk. They're looking to fight Pansy Man on the back there, but they're not going to be able to do so. GLV Demon is going to be the one picking up the kill as Super Mega Death Rocket goes a little too late. And now, ooh, the Vex Ultimate does land, so they're looking for Pansy Man now. They're looking for a little bit more. That Tether's going to land.
You're
Still
good.
looking for a little bit of damage. Azure Fire actually taken to below half HP here. And so now they're going to have to just wait for this next wave to come up if they want to put actual damage onto the turret here.
Ooh,
Just
don't do
really
that.
playing with fire here. It's glad that there's no one here to punish them for it, because they do have
A little bit too much on the fire, a little bit more on the Azure there, please, to get away from that one. A little too close to the light.
Now Zui in some trouble here, going to get stunned up, but this ultimate is still taking Noble Bark, taken pretty low here, going to pop that Rage heal here, pulled back in. Noble Bark still looking for a little bit more, might be forced to pop the ultimate if he doesn't want to be pulled into the Meat Grinder. There it goes. All right, they're going to be trying to get away, but Zui's going to be the one picking up the kill here. Is now Clap Defender coming into the mid lane with Shelly available They're now going to look for a little bit more as these red team members can't quite defend the mid lane turrets.
So here's the funny thing I just realized. Tryndamere has to activate that ultimate before the
Turret dive here. GLV Demon in some trouble. The snare is good. Zui's going to be the one picking up the kill here. Azure Fire throws out some damage. Super Mega Death Rocket comes across, but not going to be able to quite find the kill just yet. Rin still looking for a little bit more. Zap comes across. Zui is slow, does not have that ultimate. It doesn't seem like they're going to be able to follow through much more, but Zui looking for the kill into Azure Fire, throws out the shotgun finger, still can't quite find it. The teams are still looking to scrap here as Mediocre still going through. They're going to have to back away now.
Yeah, so they are just going to back away, lose another tower. Slowly but surely, it is no quarter giving no quarter as they are taking away everything they can. The red buff going to fall. Another tower. The objective control has been immaculate from no quarter. They have kept IG away from pretty much everything. There's never been an opportunity for them to walk up, and they are making some picks. They are keeping themselves in relative closeness to that kill gold, but it's not that. It is the objective gold that they are falling behind on right now.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, Clap Defender has been doing such a good job of saying, hey, GLV Demons on this side of the map, I'm just gone. I'm going to the other end of the map. I'm going to go pick this up. Whenever we saw a gank by GLV Demon on the top half of the map, Clap Defender, Muzra, and Pansy Man were immediate to go and grab the drakes on the bottom half of the map. And so now this is the good part about dragon stacking early, because now you force the opponent to answer your calls for dragon. You know, this does lead the blue team to kind of like, hey, you can have this Drake. It's the first one, right? You can have it. We'll just go push somewhere else. Or it just basically assures that they're going to be in a certain position at a certain time. As now, Muzra in some trouble here. Forced to flash away. Stun. Fear.
Nice.
Dead. Mediocre AD is going to be the one picking up the kill there with the Super Mega Death Rocket, but that is 2 ultimates down for this dragon fight now. Even though their AD carry is down, there's still some powerful members on their team.
Yeah, so that is a pick. That is one they wanted, but it is, like you said, 2 big ultimates used to pick that kill up. It is big that it is the MF. That's who they want, but Zui can frontline pretty hard here. Noble is starting this up, but Demon needs to be able to stay alive long enough for this smite to go through.
GLV Demon pulled into the fight here. That's going to be the Swain ultimate coming across. Curse of the Sad Mummy as well. That's going to be Vex diving into
my
the people
goodness.
Here, falling one by one. Noble Bark is able to pick up a kill for themselves. They might be able to pick up a second here, but the blue team continues to pick up kills, racking up kills one after another. Karma's going to be able to pick up the kill on the top side there, and now it's been cleaned up. After losing Misfortune, they're still able to fight 4v5 and come out on top 4 for 1. And pick up the Infernal Drake as well, putting them at soul point.
Yeah, so with how far ahead they are and how awkward that fight kind of turned into being, just people coming from multiple directions, and the fact that Demon just kind of got caught out at the beginning of it, you needed to keep that Sejuani alive, and unfortunately was not able to get out, was not tanky enough to survive there, and the fact that Bark was not actually frontlining enough to space people away meant that Demon took way too much damage, fell really early in that fight, and from there nobody is staying alive as Zui is ulting. So much health going back into that Swain. It is over at that point.
Yeah, for sure. And this is now looking to be a really good game for No Quarter Game, and to start to close out, right? We're getting to about 20 minutes here, which means we're going to start seeing these mid-game spikes, right? We're going to start seeing mid-game spikes from Swain. We're going to start seeing mid-game spikes from Misfortune, as well as his second item is about to be completed. And Amumu as well is now going to be a threat as well, as they're looking to build what I can only assume is a demonic embrace as well. Like, this is going to be a whole lot of damage and a rather tanky team to boot on the enemy team here. It's going to be very hard to deal with, as now GLV Demon and Rin might be spotted out here. Juicy Games looking for a little bit more, but they're flung away.
Yeah, I'm assuming it's the Demonic Embrace. There's a small chance it's a Rylai's, but with it already on the Swain, I would not expect that. So I'm assuming the Demonic Embrace, and that extra damage is really influential because Amumu's already at a point where he's really hard to kill. Swain is already at that point. You have so many frontliners here that as long as they have that gold, they're able to frontline like tanks, and they are going to do a lot more damage than tanks. So, yeah, that is really unfortunate.
Yeah, it's going to be really tough here. They're going to be forced to fight here. Tryndamere is flanking them from the backside here, so he's going to be able to find the kill on the Jinx here, and that ultimate from Renata Glass comes across, but it's not good enough to take down the blue team here, as now they continue their domination on the map, 3-0, and now they get to turn around back onto this Baron and claim the second 20-minute Baron of the series.
Yeah, all of a sudden, the floodgates open, and all of this objective money that has been put into the pocket, don't go for this, buddy. Don't go for this.
Azure Fire looking for the steal here. Not going to be able to do it. Goes down to the Urgot as well. And that's going to be the clean pickup. They pick up a 4th kill now and give themselves Baron buff. And now with a pretty clean open map to go to whatever side of the map they want here.
Yeah, so that is, it is almost 10,000 gold at this point. This is scary. This is like almost uncomebackable. Oh, okay. There has to be mistakes at this point from No Quarter to mess up right now. Like, it's not going to happen unless there is a major screw up. If somebody gets caught out, we have seen that. I think you and I were casting yesterday. Saw people with a really solid lead end up losing that lead because people got caught out and the death timers were long enough. Things can happen, but it's going to take some real, not only mess ups, but punishments on those mess ups as well. And I don't think we've seen enough of that this game for me to expect that to be occurring from IG. I think they're playing, it feels like they're going for risks when it is really not relatively possible for them to win, as opposed to the times where, hey, we can catch somebody out, we can maybe pull something off here, rather than the 1 in a million shots.
Yeah, and take a look right here. We have Noble Bark once again playing for these kind of greedy angles right here. And now it's forcing their team to kind of just be it as a 4-man group as opposed to a 5, threatening away from the tower. But now they're collapsing onto Juicy Games here, forced to flash away here. Might be going down. Jace is going to be the one picking up the shutdown there. But now they have to contend with Clap Defender and Zooey. That's going to be the Renata ult coming across, going to at least disengage for a little bit longer. The Super Mega Death Marker coming across, it's not going to be enough. Here's the huge bullet time. Holy moly, they're going to be able to find 2 kills. Double Bark stays for a little bit longer thanks to the Berserker Rage, but that's 1 auto attack more. 2, the handshake is not good enough. It's a 4 for 3. Misfortune and Karma are still alive, and they're going to be able to pick up this inhibitor in the top lane.
It looked good until it didn't. Bullet time is a scary, scary ability, and Muzra held on to that for the perfect point there. I think part of why I was looking at that, like, oh, okay, here's the chance, here's the time. They disengaged from Swain ult, using the Renata ult, and then said, okay, now we can engage on this. Unfortunately, there was still a Misfortune ult waiting for them as they dove forward, and that was really well done, specifically because Muzra had no real setup for that. That was purely game sense to use that understanding of, they are going to dive us now. This is when I should be using my ultimate and not beforehand. So really good stuff from Muzra to pay attention to that and use that ultimate in exactly the right scenario when your setup had already died.
Yeah, for sure. Is now we take a look at the gold here, about 24 minutes in here, and now with the Dragon Soul as well, up nearly 10,000 gold in the lead. And I have seen plenty of games have gotten to 10,000 gold leads. And I've got to say, it becomes impossible to win once a 10,000 gold lead starts to happen, right? If not impossible, insanely hard to come back.
Well, yeah, because think about it this way, and I don't think enough people really kind of think about it like this, is what is 10,000 gold is 2,000 per member. 2,000 gold is just about an item, a little bit under. So everybody on that team, you like, if you want to really simplify it, everybody on the team is about an item ahead of their counterpart on the enemy team.
Yeah.
That's, when you think about it like that, it becomes like clear why it is really difficult to play from that position. Because they're like, the just sheer stat difference between the teams is crazy different, and it's just gonna get worse and worse because they're gonna keep pressuring.
Yeah, GLV Demon is going to be the focus of this first fight here. The handshake comes across. Renata Glass is going to come across as well. The Super Mega Death Rocket, but these blue HP bars are still so healthy. Zui's actually taken pretty low here. They're looking to get underneath this turret, but they're still attempting to dive. Noble Bark still looking for a flank here. Still looking for an intro into this fight to be able to get exhausted. That's going to be the Vex ultimate coming across. Dive onto the backside here. Gets flipped around. That's going to be Juicy Games picking up the kill there.
Oh no.
Finally pop. Pansy Man looking for a little bit more, but the tether isn't going to finish. So now it's 5v3. Muzra still very healthy, still very ready to go in this fight, and I think they're just right about to get the Muramana as well. They're one auto attack away from getting that.
Yeah.
Even
MF's about to get a power spike, guys. Don't worry.
Yeah, in the middle of the fight, MF is about to get a power spike here, as that's going to be the Muramana here. They have to be careful how they engage. Muzra is so powerful right now as they pick up the inhibitor. They are backing away, and now Baron is spawning in less than a minute.
Yeah, this is the time to reset, I think. Good call on that. I think a couple of teams would try and go for the end right now. I don't think you need to. Yes, okay, yeah, you technically are running a composition that will, like, I guess fall off, but at this point, when you are over 10,000 gold ahead at this point, well, like, why? Like, you just want to play it safe. Do not give any opportunity, right? With this kind of a lead, there's no real world in which they can stop you from just doing your thing. I don't even know if they really need to go for the Baron here. I feel like that can even feel like a little bit of a trap.
No, Noble Bark taking
He's
incredibly
okay.
low. Forced
He's all right.
Glacial Fissure, or the Glacial Prison here, as now they're finally backing away. Man.
So now the Baron is not a trap because they've set it up in a way where they really do not need to risk it. So you got the Tryndamere back. Demon is obviously visible there. But the reason I say that I think the Baron is a little bit of a trap is because you are really good play there, actually. It looks goofy, but it's a really smart play from Zui to stand there. Wow. Yeah. Okay. But like why it feels like it could be a little bit of a trap is because you are giving an opportunity to steal. And while that probably still ends up with you wiping the enemy team because they just show up and you just stomp them into dirt, that has the minor opportunity of losing it. Whereas I feel like you can end this game good. Jeez.
Oh no, mediocre AD here, caught out by the slow, and that's all they need in order to end the game here. GLV Demon, once again, is going to be the next focus of this fight. They're below half HP. They're going to get a little bit of a shield from Rin here as they're continuing to back away. Here comes the teleport in from Urgot here to give that super minion just a little bit more. Now they're going in, flipping. GLV Demon is taken low. That's going to be the Renata ult coming across, but it's not going to be powerful enough in order to take anyone out. Azure Fire is just melting underneath the bullet time here. They're going to be the next to fall, and No Quarter Gaming picks up the series win 2-0.
Yeah, and this game looked even more dominant than the last game, so good stuff from No Quarter to be able to win that one strongly in every single lane. Last time, there was the Tryndamere doing well, got really strong early on, and was able to actually be a threat the entire time. This time, bot lane won really hard. They had the mid lane go pretty well, and then Swain in team fights is disgusting. The Urgot had a really strong start thanks to the extra pressure there. I was a little concerned when we saw the Tryndamere getting out of those ults, but eventually Urgot could get those ults onto other people, fully commit those kills, and from then on the objective control was too much. You start losing a little bit in every lane, you have no way to walk into dragons, you have no way to protect your towers or get to the Rift Heralds, and that stacks up incredibly fast with a team that will outstat you very quickly.
Yeah, for sure. It was just really tough to really come back from that team fight, from No Quarter's control over the larger parts of the map. This was a really, really good job by them. And, you know, I have to hats off to Clap Defender for real, right? Like his play, not just for his play on the specific champions, but for his macro level play and looking for these neutral objectives. I'm fairly certain he got all of the Rift Heralds and got so many good and safe calls on the dragon. Yep. Like Dragon Soul was like pretty safe for his team in both of the games.
Yeah, I think
So
there's like overall 1 or 2 neutral objectives that did not go to Clap Defender, or at the very least go to NRQ or NQR. I have to remember that's the order of the letters in the name. Okay. But yeah, like they had complete objective control from start to finish, whether it be towers, Rift Heralds, dragons, however you want to name it. There was no world that IG won outside of a couple of individual lanes, and that makes it really difficult to go into that mid game because you're just always operating at a deficit.
yeah, for sure. And we are going. The last thing I want to say is that when you're putting gold into Tryndamere, I don't know. I think maybe this is just a personal opinion. I just think that like Tryndamere should be split pushing every single day of
Yep.
the week.
Yep.
Once Tryndamere gets ahead, like I don't want to see him in a team fight. Of course, he does a lot of damage, but he could be doing more damage to the enemy team's base. I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
That is the game. You do want
For
to.
the evening. Thank you all so much for tuning in. And if you haven't already noticed, we have a bit of a sponsor for Zero Gravity Gaming this season. ProComps is a first of its kind tool aimed for competitive and solo queue play. ProComps allows the user live feedback and analysis on drafting, giving them recommendations on picks, notes on matchups, and analysis on the enemy team's win cons. These features allow the user to gain an edge on their opponent and improve their drafting skills. Use code ZGG for 50% off your first 3 months using ProComps. We used ProComps this evening, showing you all that great stuff, and you can take a look at it right now. This is what ProComps looks like on the stream, and it looks absolutely fantastic. It helped us out just a little bit in our commentary as well. Make sure you check those folks out. But from myself, Thousand Eyes, my co-caster, and Proof, our producer for this evening, thank you all so much for tuning in, and we'll see you at the next match. Bye-bye.